Hello and welcome to the Days of Yore. Today we'll be speaking about Dr. Joseph Hayes, the medical doctor who operated here in Nelson for a number of years from the end of the 19th century into the first years of the 20th. A licentiate of the Royal College of Physicians and a member of the Royal College of Surgeons. And again, a medical practitioner here in the community as well. So today's information comes largely from the newspapers of the time, and so again, I'm not an expert, but what I'm just presenting here is some interesting findings for narrative purposes. If you note that I've gotten any of my facts back to front, do please leave a comment below and let me know. Oh, and if you are enjoying this content and have suggestions for future episodes, do please drop them down as well. I really want to create the videos that you want to see. So let's begin. So Joseph Hayes, Dr. Joseph Hayes, was actually Dr. Joseph Hayes Jr., and was the son of Joseph Hayes Sr., obviously, who was the successful proprietor of stores in Nelson and in Newcastle. As a matter of fact, Joseph's mother, Joseph Jr.'s mother, Dr. Joseph's mother, Dr. Hayes' mother, would operate the store in Nelson even after his father's death. So Dr. Hayes received his higher education at the University of New Brunswick and was actually one of the only students from the northern part of New Brunswick to attend there during his time at the university. And he was only the second Irish Catholic to attend the university to that point and to pass through. So that's kind of interesting. It does speak to the kind of the attitudes, perhaps, of that time with regard to education and the university, and kind of the expanding ideas of where education could be got and who, I guess, would be permitted to receive it. So again, yeah. That's a bit awkward, but I think you get. I think you pick up what I'm putting down. So he took his BA in 1855. He studied medicine at McGill University and earned first-class honors. And from there, he continued his medical training in London and also in Edinburgh. So again, I mean, for a guy who's from Nelson, to go to London and Edinburgh to eventually become a member of the Royal College of Surgeons in 1893, to become a licentiate of the Royal College of Physicians in 1894. I mean, I think that's quite something. But I'm sure at that time, I guess we don't really see Nelson today as we did at that time. I'm sure it was a remarkable achievement in 1893-94 as well. I'm certainly not saying that it's otherwise. But today, I guess we just don't really see that as almost a possibility, whereas I think it certainly was in those days. I think that Joseph Hayes became and studied abroad and then also came back here, which I think today too we often would regard as something that really doesn't happen. You study somewhere out in the big wide world and you stay out in the big wide world. But no, this gentleman went to what were, according to the expectations of that time and according to the judgment of that time, Eurocentric though it may have been, he went to some of the best studied with some of the best, and went to some of the best places in order to study, but then came back here, to his home community, and began to practice. He first practiced in Chatham, but eventually relocated to the village of Nelson. So today we know the Hayes home, where Dr. Hayes' practice was, is as the Shanahan home. So it's the home of J.D. Shanahan, and of course later of Doug and Ralph Shanahan. So that was where Dr. Hayes practiced for a number of years. He was the sole resident doctor in Nelson for 25 years. So you can imagine, Nelson was, again, as we've discussed in previous videos, is a very busy place at the end of the 19th century with a lot going on. But again, there was also a large population, even today, for one doctor to look after. And that's not to say that everybody in Nelson went to Dr. Hayes, but again, he's the closest doctor. He's the only doctor that's living in the community. So again, I'm sure he was probably tending to the care of a lot of folks at that time. So he was also appointed coroner in 1896. But he was somebody that, even though he had the best training, even though he was the only doctor, to be found in the community, he was not somebody that enriched himself in the execution of his duties. He was not somebody that sought personal financial gain. In 1901, he reported his annual income as being $400. So again, that's certainly more money today, or certainly more money then than it would be today. So $400 goes an awful lot further in 1901 than it does in 2021, but still, that's not a lot of money, considering, his qualifications, and certainly considering the large community that he was serving. But he was not somebody that was looking for money, and again, was not somebody that was demanding high payment. He was really very much a servant of the people. Most of his patients were very poor, and again, a lot of workers here in the community, working for various mills and other operations, cutting logs upriver, so on and so forth. And he was not somebody that was diligently going and collecting on bills the way some of his colleagues were in other parts of the larger Miramichi community, and of course in other parts of New Brunswick and in Canada as well. So again, he was also very active in the community with his music. So Dr. Hayes also was somebody who was a faithful attendant at St. Patrick's Church, and his family in his youth was basically the choir. Dr. Hayes played the organ, and his father was the choir director, and his family composed the majority of the choir members. In 1894, with the establishment of the new stone church in the community, he became the choir director for St. Patrick's, and by 1907 he was awarded for his work in that capacity. In 1910, he was a member of the Miramichi Choral Society, which traveled around, again, performing at various venues, and again, bringing music throughout the community. In 1912, he was the president of the Catholic Mutual Benefit Association. He worked on the Victory Bonds Committee in 1917, and he honored Tom Kerrigan, a veteran of the First World War, with a gold watch in 1918. So again, we see somebody who is very involved in the community, not only as a physician, but also as just as a community member, as somebody that wanted to help out, as somebody that stood on a number of committees, as somebody that served the community in a number of ways. And so I think we'll leave it there today for Dr. Joseph Hayes. Again, somebody that ascended to to the heights, I would say, in his profession, but certainly also ascended to the heights in the estimation of his fellows and his friends and community and fellow community members here in Nelson. So if you're enjoying these videos, do please like them, subscribe to the channel, share the channel with those who you also think might like content like this. And have a look at those Patreon options in the description below. Visit our Facebook page, also in the description below, and get to know what we're doing on and around Beaubears Island. Again, if you want access to that exclusive content, it's all there on Patreon and can start for as little as $4 a month. So, and our season here at the Interpretive Center wraps up on October the 2nd. So do please feel free to drop by and visit. There's a lot of great programming still available and a lot of the island that you can see. So Ken will be back next week. I will see you in 2 weeks' time. And so I really enjoyed the time that we spent together. Thanks so much for spending a bit of time with me. And again, I'll see you in 2 weeks. For the Days of Yore, I've been Dr. Sean McCarthy. Thanks so much.